Hello everyone. Beautiful day. Hope everybody is doing very well. And we're here on another Wednesday to discuss a topic that I think a lot of people are almost taking for granted right now, and that's snapshots. It's just because the word snapshots has been, I guess, just so readily used, and it just seems like everybody is throwing out all these snapshots that they'll give you for free, thinking that sometimes the snapshot itself is valuable. And don't get me wrong, it can be, but it's just it seems to be a little bit more of a buzzword. But I kind of want to sit back and have this live because snapshots have really changed a lot. There's a lot more components now that you can add in to a snapshot that you couldn't before. So Highlevel is doing this more and more so that you could package. Again, if you're not familiar with what a snapshot is, forgive me, I should have gone over that. A snapshot is really just a combined package of of several objects and components inside of a sub account that then just think of it like you put into a file. And once you put it into a file, then you kind of put it up on Highlevel, and then anytime you want to create a new sub account, you could say take this file and then deploy it down to the new sub account. And that's really nice because when you deploy that, you could really save yourself a lot of time, energy, and effort by taking all of these components that you've already pre-configured. These could be things like funnels, websites, email templates, and I'm going to go through the whole list of all the different items that you can put in here, but it really does save time. And I really want to sit back and give you guys some additional ways that you can use snapshots, because sometimes people don't realize how useful snapshots can be. So, not sure why I keep popping this. Give me a second here. I need to close something down. All right, so sorry about that. But snapshots are a really useful way of helping build maybe your Highlevel system very quickly. And I'm going to give you some examples of that without naming names. But you know what, guys, before I see we got a couple people on here, just wanted to sit back and just say, hey, everybody, Sean, thanks for hanging in there. I appreciate that. And if you guys want, if you're members of my channel, go ahead and just throw me a little comment just saying hi. I'm just trying to check to see if I can make sure I read the comments. But also to let you know that I do have a membership on this channel. And when I go live, right now, only the members of my channel are allowed to hop on and actually interact and ask questions during these periods. Everybody else can just sort of follow along and look at it like a regular video. So just going to give you a heads up, it's not a whole lot. I do go live, and we do have some member-only videos and areas that you get some other perks, some access to the videos before they're released and things like that. Check it out. It's not really that expensive. I think it's well worth it to just get some questions answered and things like that. So join the channel. That's my plug. Okay, so back to snapshots. Right now, I'm going to try to give you guys an example of how you would use snapshots. So one of the ways I've been using them lately is kind of different than how people have been using snapshots that you hear in the community of Highlevel's Facebook group and things like that. There are snapshots that you could even possibly sell. I mean, maybe you've even seen snapshots that have been put on the marketplace. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm there too. I mean, I have a marketplace account. There's a snapshot on there that I sell for my cold email outreach. It took a lot of energy and effort to build that snapshot for people that do cold email outreach so that you don't have to spend weeks troubleshooting and knowing all the stuff to do to make that cold email work and to be notified and all that kind of stuff. So I just built that in there. But right now, whenever you're building snapshots here, a lot of people think that they're building them so that when you have an agency and you set up the sub account for your agency, you could use a sub account or use a snapshot, forgive me, to just have like a business in a box. Like you almost buy it, and I know people out there that are charging thousands of dollars for a snapshot. Just crazy. Thousands of dollars for a snapshot. And don't get me wrong, it may very well be worth it. Depending upon what they have in there, to have that built and the time it would take to get some of those things built could be just more expensive than just buying it. And there is a certain cost to doing business. I mean, there's a cost to just the speed and expediency of just getting going now versus having to build it, test it, and everything and wait 30 days. So I completely get that. But Right now, snapshots, that is one way you could deploy them. You can build it and look at potentially selling snapshots. Another way that snapshots are being used or have been used in the past, and the way I've been putting some of my other snapshot videos out, are to sit back and say, hey guys, if you are looking to have a certain niche client, and pick whatever it is. I mean, there's people out there that are doing roofing companies, chiropractors, massage therapists, nail salons, landscapers, home service businesses, things like that. These all businesses have certain niches. So let's just say you're dealing with a landscaping company, and because I'm going to use that example because I'm going to use the landscaping snapshot I've got to go over and show you guys how the snapshots work inside of Highlevel. That's one of the examples I'm going to use today, because I do have a landscaping snapshot. And by the way, I do have several snapshots that I give away for free. They don't have a ton of stuff in there, but they have the core basics. They have funnel, website, function, calendar, scheduling, service calls, all the workflows to handle appointments, workflows to handle lead management, things like that. That's all in there. So, at least it's a basic to get started in there, and then you can customize it from there. Hopefully, the whole goal of my snapshots that I provide out there to the Highlevel community for free are just to kind of hopefully get you maybe 60-70% of the way there, so that you don't have to spend the time building it. You could just customize it really for what you're looking for, and then fine tune it, and then you can start utilizing it. But just kind of get it done for free, and just get going selling Highlevel and starting to make money. So again, with Highlevel, a lot of my videos have been about, if you have a particular niche, let's just say landscaping, and you have a landscaping snapshot, then every time you create a client, it would be nice to just take that landscaping snapshot that it's going to have the same type of business systems that landscapers need, meaning a funnel, website, calendar, automations, maybe review management thing. If you're selling all that, take all that and just put it into the account, and then boom, you just drop it, and then next thing you know, it's live and it's ready to go. And your onboarding process then for that particular client becomes much easier. So now you might spend maybe even as little as like an hour dropping the snapshot, creating the account, and then getting things set up, and then boom, they're ready to go. They're live, and it could really happen that fast. Now, if you are dealing with the phone number and things like that, phone numbers aren't something that are included in snapshots, just to let you know. But dealing with phone numbers and the A2P registration, that is still a slower process, and that still is going to take you a couple of days to maybe even a week or two. I've heard people say to kind of get back if you don't have everything on your list. But just keep in mind, I do have an A2P video on my website, on my YouTube channel. Watch it, and that's the best practices to just get it approved the first time and to move forward. So, okay, so right now, just moving forward with snapshots, that's the way I've been telling people, is to use it for your niche, deploy it whenever you create your account. Now, I often do consulting work. Having a YouTube channel and being one of the, I dare call myself, one of the experts on YouTube regarding Highlevel. A lot of people want to hire me because they're looking to have me help them get their systems set up quickly, because again, speed and expedience has value in getting the things up and going and getting it ready. So right now, one of the things I've been dealing with are believe it or not, people in insurance. So people insurance, and they've got they're not looking to do software as a service per se. These are more like insurance industries where you have a company and you've got sales representatives inside your company, but each one of your sales representatives, in a sense, needs their own sub account because they need their own phone number. They might need their own voice over AI agent, their own AI stuff, their own websites, their own leads and things like that. Because how this works is, I'm trying to go a little bit more into this, just to kind of give you guys an example of using this. But whenever you do Facebook or Google leads, a lot of times the leads that come in will a particular form will be specific for a real estate agent. So if you have an agency that has, let's just say, 10 salespeople in it, then you might have, if you're doing online sales, you might have 10 separate forms that you're doing on Facebook or something like that to collect leads. And then when that person gets, that agent gets that lead then goes directly into that agent's sub account, using the form. So anyway, ultimately, think about what this means. That means real estate agents will need the same setup not real estate agents, insurance agents, forgive me. Insurance agents will need the same setup. They'll need a phone number. They'll need a calendar to do scheduled calls. They'll need the same workflows set up to handle the incoming calls and to do like call connect features and things like that. They need the exact same setup in each one of their sub accounts. So really, that's a perfect example of how you can use a snapshot. Now, are you going to use that snapshot moving forward? Maybe not. But at least, if you have 10 agents, what would make sense? You spend a couple of hours, maybe let's just call it half a day, to sit back and build one sub account for one agent that has a nice little, it could be a lead magnet funnel page that's on there, and you set everything up right. You use custom values to put in images and things like that to make it very easy to change those images, to change logos and things like that whenever you deploy the snapshot. And again, I'm not going to go over custom values in this demo, but just imagine if you had everything set up right. You had all the workflows configured so that you've tested the workflows, they all work, everything's good, and you're only dealing with maybe half a dozen workflows. Something to handle appointments, something to handle lead management, something to handle like whenever you get an opt-in on your funnel page, and some other things like that. So we're not talking a huge amount of information, but it would be nice once you get that thing tested and you have one sub account. Can you imagine just, again, moving, creating another sub account, and then once you create another sub account, now you're like, okay, copy this funnel over, copy this workflow over to the other sub account, copy this over. That's a lot of copying. And who knows if you're going to get all the components inside of that sub account, because what if you go through and you forget the form? Like there's a form that you forgot to move over into the new sub account. Well, then now that sub account's not going to be valid when they go to the website or the funnel and click on the contact page. That contact form is going to be blank because you forgot to move it over. So what I'm trying to say is if you set up one real estate or one insurance agent, keep wanting to say real estate agent, then what you can do is just simply take the real estate or the insurance agent and make a snapshot. And this is just an internal snapshot, but you can snapshot that particular account and then put it up into your account. And then when you create the other 9 sub accounts, from that one main the one main snapshot that you put up there. So then you make sure all the components that are in that one sub account that you already tested and show works gets put into all the other 9. And you could do that literally within, each sub account would just take minutes to set up. So setting up all those other 9 in an hour would be very feasible, and you wouldn't miss anything because you would actually use a snapshot to go through and take all of that information from the original sub account and then deploy it or create the other 9 accounts from it. Hopefully that makes sense. So now that I kind of show you just kind of uses for the snapshots, one of the things I'd like to do is kind of turn to some of the best practices for how you use snapshots and how you should build snapshots. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to my computer here. So let's take a look. So right now this is my agency view of my snapshots. Now, whenever you're building a snapshot, the snapshot has to be built off of an existing sub account. Now, ultimately that same sub account is what the snapshot is going to look at when you ever need to update it. Okay? So that means if you're going to be doing snapshots, you need to build yourself sort of a unique, pristine sub account that nobody else has access to except for a few people that are responsible for building the snapshot, and that's the only people that should have access to that particular sub account. Because the sub account that you're talking about here should only be used whenever you want to add or remove components from your snapshot. Okay, then you would log into call it your snapshot sub account. And once you log into your snapshot sub account, then you can make any changes, add additional funnels, add any other customizations, add workflows. And when you add that information, then you can go to your snapshots and you could sort of refresh it. There's a button, and I'm going to show you all this kind of stuff. I'm just walking through it in your head here. But you can click a refresh button, and then Highlevel will then go, let me go to that original sub account that this snapshot was created with, and then pull any of the changes up. That means if you deleted something, it'll remove it from the snapshot. If you added something, then it will add it. okay? But it will do a refresh so that whenever you refresh that snapshot, it will have a new, in a sense, a new version of the snapshot. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So that there is versioning inside of the snapshots, and this is actually problematic. Believe it or not, it is a problem with how you deploy snapshots. It can be, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute here. I ran across that problem and I had to call support a couple times before I found somebody that could help me understand it and explain it to me. And I want to give it to you so you don't mess anything up or don't get confused either. So right now, again, if you make any changes to that particular sub account, you can update it. And then keep in mind, you don't want to ever delete the sub account, because if you delete the sub account, then you kind of mess up the snapshot, because now the snapshot doesn't have a sub account that it could pull from again. Does that make sense? So just be careful about that. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of me personally. This is just my choice of how I choose to do this. Now, if I click on this and take a look at some of these, notice that you've got these things over here, star, star, star. I just use asterisks myself to indicate snapshots. That's just my indication. So I would just say this main one is my affiliate snapshot. So again, as a high-level affiliate, if you guys are looking to sign up or upgrade to Agency Pro, either one of those, again, the link's in the video description, you'll become my affiliate. And once you do, you have access to my community, this snapshot, other snapshots, and other training to help you just accelerate your business model. So that's all available to you. But why do I do asterisk, asterisk, asterisk? You could just do one if you want. But the reason I do that is because if you think of characters in the alphabet, the asterisk has a, I don't know if it's a lower or higher ASCII number, but basically it shows up first is the point. So in a list, when you look at the all accounts list, typically that's going to be alphabetical, in there. So right now that just means all of your snapshots then just show up at the top naturally. I mean, you could pen them if you want to. That's up to you, but they just naturally show up above the others because they have the asterisk as the first part of the name. That's just what I do. And I also put the word snapshot in the actual name of the sub account. So when I look at it, I know that's a snapshot account. So here's just some of the ones that I've got so far. But anyway, that's kind of how I name my snapshot account, so that I know that when people see that, if anybody's working on my team, they know not to do anything with that, not that they would have access to it anyway. So hopefully that makes sense. Looks like we don't have any questions, so that's good. Just want to make sure I got 4 people, and cool. Okay, well, just good. Hopefully, if you guys have some questions, what components would we need to set up a brand new sub account just for the snapshots? Well, that's a great question. I mean, what components? That's going to be completely up to you, Sean. I mean, right now you need to sit back and just understand what is it that you're building the snapshot for. I mean, if you take a look at the example of when I was dealing with the insurance agents, all I wanted to do was just, if I only put the components in there that I want, then I could just simply say, hey, Mr. Snapshot, and I'm going to show you all this. We're going to create a snapshot, and I'm going to show you some of the other screens with all the different things that can go in there. I haven't gotten there yet, but it's up to you to decide what you want to put in there and what you want to refresh. That's all. So even if the components are in the snapshot, you can still not, let me rephrase that. I said that wrong. If you have a sub account that has components in there that you do not want to put into the snapshot, you don't have to. Whenever you create the snapshot, you can unselect them and uncheck those components so they don't get put into the snapshot. So we'll take a look at that. But so right now, again, just moving forward here, you've got to have your main sub account that you create your snapshot from. You want to always just keep it in place and just leave it there. So this is why people often ask, can you create snapshots with a starter plan? Yes, you can. I mean, you can create snapshots, I believe, with the starter plan, but you're ultimately end up going to be, in a sense, wasting one sub account because you only get 3 on the starter plan. Keep in mind, 1 typically for your business and then 2 for customers. So if you have 1 for your business and then 1 for your snapshot, then now you only have 1 available sub account left for a customer. So again, my recommendations are always go, if you're just getting started, you don't have existing clients you're going to bring on board quickly, just go with the starter, get your business set up in 1, get 2 clients paying at least $297 a month. That right there will generate $600 roughly in revenue. Once you have that, then that's more than enough money to cover the Agency Pro, Go right from starter to Agency Pro. Don't go to unlimited. Those are always my recommendations. Now, there are some times I will let you know, and this is if you have an agency. Let me rephrase that. Go to the Agency Pro if you're building an agency with SaaS. Now, the other model that I talked about, let's just say you're an insurance company, and I want to be clear about this because I don't recommend that in this case. So let's just say you're an insurance company and you have no plan to sell this service to your insurance agents. You're just simply giving them a sub account because they do more business, means it's better for you and your company because you're selling more policies and things like that. Well, if that's the case, then you don't need the Agency Pro. Okay, really you just need the unlimited plan. Okay, because the unlimited plan is going to be the cheapest plan that gives you an unlimited number of accounts for what you need, since you're not charging your clients for things. But if you do have an agency, if you do plan on starting an agency, you do plan on charging your clients for sub accounts, you need to go to Agency Pro right away. That's my recommendation. So back to snapshots. Now that we've kind of talked about, just to recap, we've kind of talked about uses of snapshots, the ones that are out there, what you could do with them, put them in the marketplace, things like that. You can actually build funnels and just sell them online. They don't have to be in the marketplace. I have a funnel that I sell my cold email outreach snapshot. That's on my, in my YouTube video. Just go to a landing page, have an order form, you do it, and then as soon as you purchase it, there's an automation process that sends you a link that allows you to download and import the snapshot. Now, I do want to take a minute and talk about the snapshot links. This is something that a large portion of people get wrong. And I get a lot of questions about this when I'm offering free snapshots, and it's something that people just don't get, even though I leave it in the video comments. When you're doing a snapshot, how this works is the snapshots will always try to load or import into the app.GoHighLevel.com website. Okay, so I'm trying to go slower here so people can understand it. If you're logged into your white label domain, app.mycompanyname.com, and you're not authenticated or logged into app.GoHighLevel.com, then the snapshot link is not going to work. It'll take you off to some page, almost like a high level sales page or an affiliate page or something like that. And then you're like, well, that's not what Ray said. Ray said that when I click on this link, I should get like an import button. All you have to do is just open up another tab, go to app.GoHighLevel.com. Now, sometimes when you do this, you might have a cookie or something on your computer that might log you right in. Great, you shouldn't have a problem. But sometimes it might be like, hey, I'm going to send you a 6-digit code that you have to log in again to your cell phone or your email. You'll have to log in, authenticate yourself through the 2-form factor authentication. Then at that point, you log into GoHighLevel. You need to do that process first. Then once you log into app.GoHighLevel.com, this is for you and for anybody that buys or uses your snapshots as well. If you give them a link and you're allowing them to import it into their system, just keep that in mind. They need to do this, otherwise it's going to error and they're going to come back and say, man, your link doesn't work, Ray. What'd you do, man? It doesn't work. I click on it and it doesn't give me what I said. So, all right, just follow the instructions and it'll work. Because ultimately how it should work, you click on the snapshot link. If you're logged into app.GoHighLevel.com, it should take you to a main page. It just gives you a big green button that says import. So you click on the import button and then boom, the snapshot gets loaded into your agency, into this view. If you look at the agency and you look at this area right here, notice that there are my snapshots, which are the ones I created, imported snapshots, which are the ones that I've gotten from other people and imported into my system that now I can use. Here are the shared snapshots. Now keep in mind, shared snapshots are snapshots that I have in my snapshots that I've chosen to share out in some way, shape, or form. And I'm going to go over all the sharing here in this video to show you what that looks like. But then here are some of the snapshot templates, things like that you can have. So all the ones that come with like Highlevel. So these are the snapshots that you have available. Just want to make sure that you know that. But when you import something, it'll always go here into the imported snapshots. Now, me personally, whenever I have my snapshots, let's kind of just talk about this real quick. Notice that how this is going. I have like a little rocket, Ray O'Daniel dash, this is my real estate agent snapshot. But when somebody imports this name, the emoji and everything gets imported into their account. That's important because it just makes your snapshot stand out. Because right now, if you take a look at this, at the ones that I import, you'll notice that this is several from Highlevel. This is affiliate snapshot V1, and I'm like, well, what do these have in it? They're not very clear about what they have in it. But if it says, Rocket, whatever, Ray O'Daniel real estate agent snapshot, right, that's the one I got from Ray's video. So it's just a reminder. And when you're doing that, just name it. Now, whenever somebody gets it into your system, you can always go through and click on this edit and rename it yourself, which if the snapshot is not clear, that's one of my recommendations. When you import it, give it a name, something that you will remember what it's for. Because other than that, after a month, after 6 months, you're going to look at it and go, I don't remember what that is. And that's going to be a problem. Then you'll have to look and try to figure it out, and it's just not worth it. So back to snapshots here. Making sure we don't have any more questions. But now that we've gone through that, and now that we kind of see about just snapshots, importing them, what you need to do to import them, let's kind of take a look at creating a snapshot, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and just click Create Snapshot. This is going to ask us for a name. I'm going to do Landscaping Test Snapshot. Now here, I'm going to just scroll back a little bit. Has all the other ones, so I'm going to pick the landscaping snapshot that I want to pull this from. The original, that pristine sub account that I told you about, that's the one that I want to use. And I'm just going to go ahead and click Next. Go back out so we can see this. Now, here is, I know it's kind of hard for you, I'm going to try to zoom this back in. Here are all the different components here. And unfortunately, if you take a look, I cannot give you a high-level help article for this because they don't have anything. I think the snapshot overview one that I looked at was from March of last year. It was the last time they updated that documentation, which I know, they have a lot of new features. So, but these are all the features that can be put into a snapshot. So ad campaigns, if you're doing that, blogs, a lot of people don't know that. You can put blog articles and things like that inside of your snapshot. Calendars, any of the campaigns, certificates. Certificates are really like a membership kind of thing. Like when you have products and you've got offers and things like that, which are also available in here. But you can also have certificates, that you can issue them, like, great job, you finished the course and things like that. So when you create those certificates, you can store them in your snapshot as well. Conversation AI, all of your custom fields and values, dashboards. A lot of people didn't know that with dashboards. Any of your documents and contracts. So if you're dealing with, not really much with landscapers, but I'm just going to use the term coaching. If you're dealing with coaches and something that might require a service agreement, like, hey, I agree to coach you, and if you want to quit, you have to give me 30 days, and you've got all this document. You can actually create the documents inside of your snapshot for your coaches to use and leave them in there. So, but again, all your email templates, forms, and I'm just not going to go through all of it, but here are all the different things that you can go through. Any of your review settings, which are good for reputation management, social planner, all of your postings. If you want to have pre-populate a bunch of different social media templates in there, that'll work. So all of these things are in here. So there's a lot of information, even the voice AI agent. So keep that in mind. If you're ever wanting to build an agency for AI, then now you can actually put voice AI agents in there. So it just saves you the time of building them. Keep in mind, some people get really creative. I've done videos on voice AI agents, and you could really, really hone in on the prompt. And that's the chat GPT settings that you have with the voice AI to tell it how to respond to certain things. You could really go in deep with those prompts and really go to a high level. Well, if you do that, you can, again, put all that information into a snapshot. So that's pretty good. So notice here, again, I just want to go over that. But I also want to sit back and specify. Remember I said that there are some components that you could put into a snapshot, and other ones, if you don't want them, you don't have to. So I can sit back and do select all. Now when I do that, notice that when I look at here, I'm going to blow this back up, there's one calendar, there's one conversation AI, 28 custom fields, so it gives you the numbers. So what I'm trying to say is, what if I didn't want this calendar? I can click on the calendar, and I have a scheduled appointment, I'm just going to uncheck that. So now the calendar will not go into the snapshot if that's what you want. And I'm just saying, you might have a test calendar or something like that, that you were another different kind of calendar that you're using that you don't want to include. But this is just how you would do it. You would select any of the stuff that you don't want, just by expanding it and saying, okay, nope, 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 don't want that. Once you have everything that you want, I'm just going to keep everything selected. I'm going to click proceed. And then at this point, it goes through, and depending upon how much data is in the sub account, how much information, depends on how quickly it's going to create the sub account. The snapshot, and make it available. So when you do that, you can. Right now, I always have to click the refresh on this whenever that happens, because it just naturally doesn't refresh. But that's just a helpful tip too. But right now, the landscaping test snapshot. So before I forget, and I'm kind of really good at that as I start talking about other things, I want to make sure I understand the snapshot URL. I remember talking about that a little while ago, but I didn't go over an important part because I moved on to something else. But whenever you generate a share link for a snapshot, that share link is directly connected to that version of the snapshot. So let's discuss this real quick. You have snapshot version 1, like just this one we just created, like this would be, just think of it as version 1. So now we have version 1. We sit back and say, okay, now that we have version 1, we're going to sit back and go to version 2. So we're going to update it. We're going to put some funnels. We're going to put some other things in there and stuff like that. And we're going to refresh, which I'm going to show you how to do that. But you're going to refresh and put that into your version 2. Okay? But in version 1, you've already created a share link, these links right here, for your version 1. Does that make sense? So once you have a version 1 link, if you still have that link out there, like inside of an email sequence, or you have it published in your community for, hey, download this snapshot link, the problem is that link is only going to work for the version 1 snapshot. All the stuff that you added for version 2 will not be included in that link. That link will import the version 1 version of that snapshot, not the version 2. So you, in order to give people the new data, the new stuff inside of your snapshot, you will then need to sit back and go to create a new share link for version 2, and then use that link to share it. Okay, this is what I got confused about, because typically I work in IT. My thought is, I just have a share link. The link is going to whatever the current version is, or whatever the snapshot is. That's what they're getting. But then as I kept adding more and more value to it, people would say, I'm not getting that, Ray. I'm not getting the new stuff that you're putting in there. And I'm just kind of scratching my head going, what's the deal? Going back and forth, it took about 2 different tries, and I had to go to like a higher level person in support that goes, oh no, links are version specific. And I'm just like, just please, put that in some documentation. Put that in the documentation somewhere, so I'm not struggling for hours trying to figure this stuff out. Killing me here. But anyway, keep in mind that link is for that version only. Okay? So if you have an area, just be careful about all of your links. So one of the things I would suggest is that if you do snapshots and you are like selling them or deploying them in an email template or email sequence, please use a custom value for this. Okay, use a custom value for let's just call it a custom value for landscape snapshot. Okay, and then now you take that custom value and add that custom value into the email template or the email sequence inside of a workflow, because that way you've just got one place. If you want to create a new share link for your snapshots, you create the share link and then you just go update the custom value. So that right there is my recommendation and just my way of reducing your stress and headache over that whole process. So now that we've done that, we've kind of gone a lot into this thing. I mean, there's a lot, believe it or not, a lot into snapshots about how you use it, what kind of way you want to use it, and things like that. Let's talk about the next thing that we see here, and that's the user interface. So I'm just going to slightly try to blow this up a little bit. Here we've got the landscaping snapshot. See the sub account? Now keep this in mind. This is the sub account that it was created off of. If you delete the sub account, this sub account will be blank here. Now that means you can still use the snapshot. Okay, the snapshot's different. It's not dependent upon the sub account to deploy. So if the sub account that you created the snapshot from was deleted, the snapshot itself can still be imported and work, is what I'm trying to say. But you just can't do a refresh on it, which we're going to talk about now. But it does give you things like created on, last updated. Now here, if you want to, this right here is if you want to create a new account. So if you did want to, again, use a snapshot to create a new sub account, you can simply do that here from this screen. You can also do it from your sub account creation too. I'm going to show you that as well. This right here, this, if you hover over it, refresh, this is exactly what that means. You make some changes in the original sub account, you click refresh, it updates it, and then that right there now is another version that you actually get. And then from here, if you want to, this right here is super, super cool. Push update to linked sub accounts. Some people may look at that and go, what does that mean? I don't know. I might have to look that up. But what it means is, let's just say, I'm going to try to use the example I gave you earlier of insurance agents. I created the first agent's account using a sub account, and I created the snapshot from that account. Okay, and then I created the other 9. Now, if I wanted to make a change, do an update or something like that, then I would do it to the original agent sub account that I created. Okay, make all the changes in case I made an error or something. I would go to the snapshot. I would refresh the snapshot. Then what I would do is when I refresh the snapshot, it has all the fixes and the updates to it. I would then click this link right here, which would say, okay, I used this snapshot to create all of these other 9 accounts. I'm now going to take the update and push it. I'm trying to give you a visual. Push it down to all the other 9 sub accounts like that. So no more deployment issues, no more problems. Now this is just 9. Imagine if you have 20, 50, 200, 500 clients. Imagine how easy this would be to sit back and say, hey guys, you know, we're coming out with a brand new, I don't know, website that we're going to give everybody. So I'm going to update the website in my snapshot, and I'm going to push it, and that website is now going to be pushed into all 500 clients, into their sub accounts, making it available, and then they can begin using it if they want to. So it's really that easy, and it's done completely from here. So I'm going to click on this just to kind of see what it looks like here. So notice right here, there's just, I haven't created a sub account from any of these yet. So I don't really have an example, but if you did, there would be a list of sub accounts. You would select which ones you want to, click proceed. Notice that there is, I'm going to show you this, in assets. This is where you get to choose what part of the snapshot you want to push down. And then it would check for any conflicts, heaven forbid. You should name it something that is probably not already going to exist. So there won't be any you're not overriding something that they already have. So again, it checks for conflicts and then it pushes it all out. Pretty nice, simple. This is a very good deployment strategy, by the way, guys, with this. Now, I do want to sit back and blow this up and show you these 3 dots, which always gives you some more options. You can edit the snapshot, change the name, copy the snapshot ID. You will need the snapshot ID sometimes if you're dealing with support on different things, or if you are looking to put it into the marketplace. They'll ask for the snapshot ID. That's an internal number. Share the snapshot, which I'm going to get into that just in a minute. And then view history. So the view history is where you see all the updates that have been done, when it was done, and stuff like that. So you can kind of see the history. And then obviously the delete snapshot, which if you want to, you can get rid of it. So that's how you can do this. Now, what I want to do is go into the share, because there are some good protection methods that you can use if you're building your snapshots. And a lot of people sometimes sit back and say, well, Ray, I'm really wary of selling my snapshots because I put a lot of energy, effort into designing these things, and a lot of maybe my internal, what they call IP, intellectual property, to deploying and putting workflows in here and just things like that. This right here takes a lot of work, and I just don't want people to take this and then steal it and then, use my stuff and start making money off of it and things like that. So Highlevel has put some security features in here that I'm going to go over, and you could use them however you like. And we're going to go ahead and click on this share snapshot, which you're going to have to do this if you want to create a link to send to somebody. Give me a second here. So right now, here are some of these share links. I'm going to open this up and let you take a look. Permanent link, which is kind of what you would expect. Once you generate a permanent link, that means if you give it to somebody, they can give it to somebody else, and they can give it to somebody else, and they can post it wherever, and that link will always download and import the snapshot. It's a permanent link. It'll always work. Okay? The get one-time share link, that's what you would think. You share the link, it works one time for whoever you give it to, and then after that, it doesn't work anymore. So it's a one-time deal. Okay? Now, keep in mind, get one-time share link, every time you sell something, or every time you deploy your snapshot or give it away, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to generate a new link every time. A lot of manual process involved with that. Just keep that in mind. Email share link, it's exactly what you would think. It just simply emails it. So get agency restricted link. This is nice. This is where you can sit back and say, hey, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to sell this to you, but I need your agency number. So if we click on this, notice right here, agency relationship numbers. I can put in a couple of different numbers separated by comma, but I can just say, give me your agency relationship number, put it in here, and now the snapshot is only good for this agency. So now you can restrict it so that only people with this agency number or relationship number can it actually be deployed to. So that's a good restrictive measure. Another one is a sub-account restricted, which if you put on this is your sub-account ID. If you've ever had to deal with support, you had to go to the sub-account settings and click on your little sub-account in a company field, a sub-account ID, like a 12-digit or 12-character number or something. Put it in here, and then now the snapshot can only be used for that particular sub-account, if you want to. And then last but not least, there is a marketplace share link. So marketplace is when you actually want to put it on the marketplace, which if you do, you have to create a marketplace account, and it's a whole separate area of Highlevel that you have to kind of go and apply for, because when they sell it, they send you your money directly from it. But if you want to put stuff on the marketplace, you can do it, and this is where you create that link here. Now, I want to show you this little thing down here. Notice that this is checked by default. Enable asset protection. What does this mean, Ray? Well, what it means is whenever you've got that selected, which is always selected whenever you get a marketplace share link, notice that you cannot uncheck this. But if you come here, if you want to get a permanent link, I can uncheck that if I want to. I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm going to leave this one checked just for this time being. But what it means is that whenever you have a snapshot and somebody imports it, they can use it in their system. They can use it, and if it's a permanent link, they could share it out with somebody else, and somebody else can import it, and somebody else can import it. So it's just a permanent link, like we talked about. But here's what they cannot do with the Enable Assets Protection. They cannot take your snapshot, deploy it completely to a new sub-account, okay? And then use your elements that's in your snapshot to then create a new snapshot for themselves, like for them to sell. So this is that protection that I was talking about, where if you're building like just a killer workflow that really take a lot of time, and you don't want somebody to take your intellectual property or your assets and to sit back and put it into their snapshot, and then for them to resell it like it's theirs, and for them to make money off of you, you can enable this. And then what happens is that those components are not allowed to be put into another snapshot. They're allowed to be used in any sub-account that you want within your agency, but you cannot create another snapshot based upon the components that have been in a snapshot where the Enable Assets Protection has been selected. Okay, hopefully that's good enough. So right now, I want to show you one more thing here, but if you want to, you create a shared one, you get all of these. If you take a look, these are the ones that are shared. It tells you if they're a permanent link right here, what kind they are. If you want to copy the link, you just copy the link right here and paste it. And if you want to delete it, you can delete it, which by the way, I'm going to come here. I don't need this anymore. I'm just going to come here and click delete snapshot, confirm, just to show you that you can delete them very easily and they're gone. Now, if you ever want to sell them on the marketplace, you could choose this button right here. How do I sell snapshots? It goes over some additional stuff. I'm not going to deal with it on this call, but I also want to sit back and go over sub-accounts. So if you're creating a sub-account, a new sub-account, then right now this screen typically comes up. You can choose a SaaS account or a regular account. And again, sometimes people have questions over that, and it's just like if this is your own company and your own business and you just want to create a regular account with it, you don't necessarily want to create a SaaS account and assign it to a SaaS plan where you're charging yourself for your own account. That doesn't make any sense. But right now, here's all the default snapshot templates that come with Highlevel. Here are my snapshots that you have available to you, and then the ones that are imported. So keep in mind, remember when you create a share link, and I'm trying to give you an example here, you create a share link on your snapshot, you give it to somebody. They click on it, they click the button, they use import, and they import that into their system, okay? When they do that, inside of their imported snapshots, this is what they will see, okay? So again, they'll be able to take your imported snapshot, select it, or if you want to, you can just use any one of yours to do this. So you can actually use this to create, use those snapshots to create your account as well. So just wanted to sit back and show you could do it there as well. Because again, with account snapshots, you can click on this little plus button right here and just say, I want to create a new sub account based upon this. And it just automatically goes directly into the sub account creation process, since it knows that you're going to be using that snapshot to create the account. So that's really kind of all I had with regards to the snapshots. That should be a well enough verse for you. And I didn't really get a whole lot of questions on this one here. Either that's good or bad. It could be good that I'm just so good at answering, explaining that people don't need to ask a question, or that maybe people just don't have it right now. But hey, if you're watching this on a replay or something, then go ahead and make sure you leave a comment. I do check on these and make sure I get to all of my comments and things like that on here. But that snapshots as a whole, that's what you can do for it. Now, let me just try to think here if there's anything else. Any other last questions, guys, for this? Trying to just think real quick if there's any other possible thing about selling a snapshot. Nope, not that I can think of right now. Again, you can play with it yourself inside of there to see what components that you can store inside of a snapshot and things like that to be able to sell it. But that's all I had, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope this was a good idea to sit back and at least help you understand how you can use snapshots to like I said, help you create multiple sub accounts if that's something that you need, or for instance your client needs. Because keep that in mind, maybe your client needs, your client may need a way to create, multiple items or something like that. You might be able to use that for it. So, not got it for this stage. Fair enough, Sean. I mean, right now, again, not a lot of people need it for where they're at right now, but just a good idea moving forward. If you can utilize it to help save you time, like when you're creating those insurance agents, that right there, if you had to create that one account 10 times. And then moving forward, if you had an 11th agent, well, crap, I made this thing like 6 months ago. I forgot how to remake it again. You don't need to remember all the steps to make it. You don't need to document it. You just need to create a snapshot and then deploy the snapshot, and you're good to go with creating, insurance agent number 11 through 20. And you can do that fairly quickly. So, guys, appreciate you hanging in there with me. And again, if you haven't subscribed, click on the link, subscribe to my channel, and become a member. You can hop on these and ask questions and things like that as well. Guys, thanks so much.